Imagine 3 people. The one catches 5 sharks, kills all of them, discards 4 of them, and then puts 1 in a display box. The second takes a sick, emaciated street dog, puts it in a room with a little bit of food just out of its reach, and leaves it there to die. The third takes 10 goldfish, puts them in functional blenders, and waits for someone to press the button. You would say, this is animal abuse. But what if I told you that this is art? My name is Yolandi Coetser, and I'm here to tell you why the use of animals in art is of philosophical and ethical importance. Artists play an incredibly important role in our society. They push boundaries, they question the status quo, and they ask those questions that no one else wants to ask. And they do so in intriguing, interesting ways. But animals are also important, and animals shouldn't be made to gratuitously suffer. So how do we balance these two? This leads me to the central question of my thesis. Should the use of animals in art be governed? And if so, how do we do that by still allowing artists freedom of expression and freedom of speech? One way in which I try to answer this in my thesis is by looking at the parallel between the use of animals in science and the use of animals in art. If you're a scientist and you want to use animals, you're allowed to, but only within very strict guidelines and very strict codes of conduct. However, if you're an artist and you want to use or abuse an animal for an artwork, you're allowed to, and no one sort of asks a question about that. Why is the use of animals in art not similarly governed to the use of animals in science? I argue in my thesis that it should be. The importance of this research lies in the complex relationships that humans and animals have. As South Africans, we're no strangers to the complex relationships that exist between us and animals. Think about the animal on your plate, the animal in your backyard, the animals in our national parks, as well as the animals we slaughter for religious purposes. To conclude, I hope that my research will culminate in a code of ethics or an ethical guideline, as much like we have in the sciences, but only for artists. But I want this code of ethics to be in such a way that both the artist's freedom of speech and freedom of expression is protected, as well as the animal's welfare, that animals aren't gratuitously harmed. I thank you for 3 minutes of your time.
The University of Johannesburg. Rethink, reinvent.